What early intervention gave our family was a way of teaching my son that actually worked. And I realised that once somebody knew how to teach him, he knew how to learn. He started picking up quite a lot of words just from using visuals, which I had no idea about before. And a lot of our programme, first of all, was using visuals. And he was picking up all sorts of words. And then he could learn them himself. And then we could have mini conversations, and it certainly made day-to-day life much easier. It was also good for our family having him busy a lot of the time. So just having him gainfully employed and also having people helping us was very, very helpful.
Early intervention for Bradley and our family was the best thing we've ever done. We still say that to this day, and he's 14 years old now. He's still learning. I describe it as when he was diagnosed with autism, all the little doors in his brain shut. And early intervention was us going in and opening all those little doors one at a time. Literally sit down, come here, those sort of things. Toilet training was a massive goal of ours. When we got that, we drank champagne. Bradley had no speech when he was diagnosed. For us to get any form of speech, which we did through early intervention, was just phenomenal. He did it from 3 till he was nearly 9. So he did it for 6 years and he loved it. It wasn't like I was pressuring him to do it. He just loved going and doing his sessions with the therapists. They were just fabulous. They taught him so much and he still is learning from them. So it's priceless.
I think early intervention was my first step to getting out of crisis mode. Up until my point, my son had significant behaviours. He couldn't sit still, and it looked like he was actually severely disabled simply because he wouldn't pay attention enough to actually learn anything.
At the time of diagnosis, we had been going through quite a number of therapies already with Hugo.
We didn't know it as early intervention, we just knew it as occupational therapy or speech therapy, but I think the paediatrician really drilled into us at the diagnosis time that early intervention intensity was really important for Hugo.
Yeah.
I would just say early intervention was just to bring her out of her own little world. We wanted her to be a part of this world. And we would play the things which she likes to play. We would sing the songs together which she likes to sing. We would watch songs together which she likes to watch. It was all about she wanted to do, but there was always either me or her dad involved in, so that it comes out as a constructive engagement for her.
Early intervention meant we were going to be really busy, which meant we were doing lots and lots of things. We were always scheduling, organising, sorting stuff out and participating in early intervention. So in doing all of that, we were just 150% engaged at helping our boy. The other wonderful things is the more you get into this, the more improvements, little glimmers of change, of growth and development you see in your little one, and nothing beats that.
But my goodness, the contrast of not doing anything to getting at least something going, I think was the biggest success we had, was persevering in those early days with just how traumatic it was for him and for us, and even for the therapists arguably who tried to work with him to try and break down some of those behaviours. Wow, it created a base that it was made a lot of other things possible.
First we read and tried to find as much information as possible while he was just sitting there, and we just knew we had to do something. And it's made the difference through everything we've done over all his years. Is you have to be a part of helping out your child and understanding what they're going through. So I would, we'd take turns sometimes and sit in on them so we understand what they're doing, so we could generalize everything he was learning in his therapies. The best thing to do is to start early, because you can make a big difference in their lives. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Early intervention was a critical part of us as a family helping provide our boy with the best possible foundation as he progressed from that early childhood era into preschool and school. It provided him with the language he needed to be able to express his needs, even at a fundamental level of self-care. You know, I need to use the bathroom, I need to get a drink of water, etc. Early intervention for us was a military endeavour. You know, we were scheduled, we were doing shifts between us with work and home, meals, our other child, making sure that we were functioning as a family unit, but also meeting all of the deadlines and requirements of effectively running a home school.
I remember we found a early intervention place and I was so excited because it was the first place that accepted Ollie, because we just started out with Ollie. And I wish now that I had known the different types of early intervention. It was a lot of Ollie just in a swing and just trying to get eye contact, and that went on for a fair while. So it was the quality of the early intervention that, looking back now, I'd wished I'd knew more about.
There's a different end game for everybody with intervention, you know, and you go to places that have intervention, you see these kids and they're walking out and they're talking and they're having all these things, and your kid's not doing that, and you're going, oh, that's the end goal for me. But there's a different journey for everybody, and what intervention means for you is that you're just taking action. It don't focus on the result. You're doing something and you're giving the kid the best chance they're going to get.
Your early intervention team will become some of your most experienced and reliable and objective supporters in your network. And it is really important. This might be your first child with a disability, but this is not their first rodeo. They've met many, many children with disability and worked with lots of families with children with disability. So you want to be able to tap into that wisdom. It is really important that you have a good connection with the supports that you work with. And some of the things that you might look for are, of course, reliability. You want someone who is going to do what they say they're going to do. You want someone who is responsive. So that means someone who understands who your child is as an individual and is able to adapt their support to specifically meet the needs of your child and you as a family. You want someone who is obviously an expert in their field. But probably the cherry on top is someone that you like, someone that you get along with. It is inevitable that you are going to have emotional moments when you're working with your therapists. There will be moments where you are hysterically laughing. There will be moments when you're hysterically crying. And you want this person to be a person who you trust with your vulnerable self. I think the thing that I appreciated most in the therapists that I enjoyed working with was feeling supported by them. Sometimes when you're the mum of a child with a disability, you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, not to mention the feelings of guilt that you have about the fact that they have a disability in the first place, and secondly, are you doing enough? But sometimes you need to feel supported as well. So a really great therapist will understand that, of course, it's about your child first and foremost, but that the context of your child, which is the family, and particularly you as a mum, might be a dad as well, but usually it is a mum, that they're able to support the mum as well.
The early intervention gave us the tools and ideas on how to help with specific issues. Being able to go to someone and talk to them directly, like, this is the situation we're having, what's the best way to deal with it, how can we help her through that? How we can help the boy through it and work out a solution together, having the sounding boards and the ideas of experts there to help us to know what to put in place to help our child learn and grow without getting so frustrated and so upset and so dysregulated that they couldn't function. So it's definitely made a huge difference in the kids' lives.
In my experience, I've seen early intervention do amazing things for families and for children. Children make incredible gains, life-changing gains, which change their lives and actually that of their families.
I feel that for us it's changed our life and our journey for Bradley. We have a child now that can go to the toilet, can talk to us and tell us what he wants. And that wouldn't have happened, I don't think, if we didn't do early intervention. It was life-changing for us as a family.